we have not had elected government even before 2013 at the local government area. I can't recall any time in P2P's administration we had elected government except 3 months to his battle. So we've had it ever since P2P came on board. I am not saying that it is not good what we did by not having elected local government council. Because I know he kept doing what he called counterpart funding for most of his projects. But I think he denied the grassroots the opportunity of participating fully in governance. And when I am elected the governor, I will do it differently. I will not only have the local government council elected, I will also go down to town union. So that government will really affect the common man in the street and he will be involved in the activities of governance.
Okay, you were an aspirant under the Nigerian ruling party, APC. Why did you leave the party and why are you contesting under APM instead?
Very simple. We did no primaries and we had no candidate for this election in APC. And I do not want the risk of what happened in Zamfara to happen in Anambra State. APC, as we speak, has no candidates. And if the INEC, that is the institution that oversees the activities of primary election and the main election, had done a report which was obtained under certified true copy with a receipt, a remitter receipt paid to federal government to say there was no primary. I think it will just be a wild chess for anybody to believe that APC will be in the ballot, even if they are in the ballot, that after winning, the Zamfara treatment will not be given to them by the Supreme Court. That ship is headed to the rocks, and I do not want to be on board.
Okay, so will you describe this situation now as a failure of the aspirants to come together or as a failure of the state executives of the party?
If you know how we came about the parties that are running for this election, especially for those of us from APC, you know that we are together. Everything we are doing is with one mind and one purpose. All the aspirants are behind what I am doing, and most of them are also behind what others are doing, who are former aspirants of APC. Because of just what I told you, the ship is sinking. And it will only be just a person that does not understand, or somebody who has seen something happen before and is waiting for that thing to happen again, that will stay in that sinking ship.
Okay, now let's go back to your manifesto. What do you think about, you talked about running the government with profitability target lines. What do you mean by that? Can you expatiate?
Now, you see, before now, people don't know that governance is a business. I want to have a target timelines for every business I do. And also, in governance, I do not want to have ministries that are not productive. The way you do P and L, profit and loss, is the way I'm going to check Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Works and Housing, Ministry of what were the set budget plan for the fiscal year, and what results did we get in terms of returns. So if a particular ministry is not productive, I have to reject that ministry. Every ministry must be productive so that the people who own the business in the Anambra will, at the end of every year, said, we invested this much and this much was returned to us.
And how do we hold you accountable for all these campaign promises you've been talking about?
Accountability.
Yes.
In fact, you will start checking me as this chair, 100 days in office. By 100 days, I'll bring my balance sheet. You will take a look at it. You are a journalist. You will make comments. If I've done what I said I would do, you will say so. If I have not, you will say so. After the end of a budget year, fiscal year, I'll bring my balance sheet. In fact, and indeed, every month, I'll bring the account of the state activities, both financial, to show that we said we'll be doing this. This is where we are. This is what we have gained. If we are losing money, it will be seen. Our accounts must always be audited, if not every quarter. It should be monthly.
Okay, you're showing such strong optimism and plans. Do you actually believe you're going to win this coming elections?
Excuse me, I am winning the election because there is none that is as good and as qualified in every aspect of what is required. I am a technocrat. I am a diplomat. There is none that is a diplomat I found in the field. Yes, you could find a technocrat, one or two. I am a mercantilist, a trader, and that is the most calling of all my people in the Anambra. I used to buy and sell spare parts at Idumota. Gabros Tukuma, senior brother Innocent, was the one supplying my spare parts I was selling at Idumota. I later moved from Idumota to Anambra International. My shop was H104 with the likes of the owner of Gransby Obior and Obior Emone in order. Then signed Dennis Okafor in Ojo, Ike God. All of them were contemporaries importing electronics from Singapore and China. So I know what my people are doing. I know where to help them when I'm in government. I am a military intelligence guru. Nobody in the field today as a candidate will have that again. So I have more than everything they have, and the more they will never have. So the employer in the Anambra will look at all these things and saying, this is the man we need at this time. Insecurity is the pain of the society now. And a guru in security business is in the context. My dear sister, if you are to employ us and you are interviewing us as you are interviewing me now, who will you vote for? You go for the man who has all the skills.
Okay, now let's talk about your experience as a diplomat. Why didn't you use your people management skills to try and resolve the conflict in APC when you were still in the party?
Oh, we did everything that is humanly possible. Everything. Because the last thing was to go to court, which some went to. But I didn't leave until after we had gone to appeal panel committee. And that appeal panel report, I applied and got acknowledgement, paid the necessary passive fees for them to give us the report. Because the report said that there was no primary, that we should go and redo the primary. That was why till today, a process I participated in, I was not obliged to come. Not only me, the whole of us.
So how
we
come
did
one man?
Everything possible. We availed all the opportunity for us to have a resolution to this matter. Then,
so how come one man just came up and you subbed the aspirants, because you said that the aspirants were together and did everything together. So how come one man came, ignored the process, and is now recognized as the candidate of the party by INEC?
Excuse me, you know the way we are in this country, our country Nigeria. To start with, I was the one who initiated a breakfast meeting of all the aspirants. I did the call. I called everyone, one after the other, every one of us, that we should meet in a breakfast meeting to bind together to make sure that from screening to the primary to everything that will stay together. And I can tell you, we didn't know that after all the assurances we were given, that it's going to be a level playing field, that it will end up being that there will be no primaries. This is the first time in all my years in politics. Yes, you could have elections and then you have infractions, you understand, and then you still manage. But this one, there was not any single election materials, election official met the election material anywhere in the whole 326 wards of Anambra State. And because that didn't happen, we called the attention of the primary committee led by Governor Dapo Abiodun. They disappeared into the thing there. The next thing we saw was that they were calling results at midnight of Sunday following the Saturday of 26 June, using Android phone to release the result in the Facebook wall. Such an important election by a party that is led by Mr. Integrity. How do they want Mr. President to be seen? A man I served under and 4 Brigade, a man I served under in 3 Division, then before he changed to 3 Armored D. He has remained the same person and has never changed. If not for anything, because of his disintegrity, that kind of act should not be done. But they took everything away and then released the result. NTA was not there. Channels was not there. AIT was not there. No mainline media, whether social, print, or electronics was there. You just use Android phone and then you release on a Facebook. Wow. And everything done through in fact, the leaders of the party, the minister, His Excellency Chris Ngige, was working. He never, in his Ward 1 and 2, saw anybody that voted. In fact, if they had even tried to carry materials to some of us, the aspirants, I am telling you, maybe we'll be busy. They'll keep us down and still go and do this thing. Somehow, but that it didn't happen anywhere. Come on. There must be an end to impunity. Mind you, this is the second time this gentleman they declared winner did the same thing. I ran for Senate with him in 2019. He went and came, that they've given them automatic tickets, this is blah, 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 which we later found out not to be true. But he came to my village 3 times. I told him, well, I'm a true party man. If they had decided to give those of you sitting senators tickets after the Saraki and the group left, well, I will work for you. Whatever little change I still have in my pocket, I'll put it into your campaign. But I know that it will be difficult for you to win because of the way the Anambra is perceiving you and you people. That it is better that you support another. But since you have it, well, we go to the field. And as it were, we went to the field. He came last. 4 out of 4 that contested for the Senate. Now, a man who came last, lost in his ward, lost in his local government, and came last in 7 local governments. You are giving ticket to go and do what? Do what might into 1 local government. Well, Anambra must have a choice. And I am in this race for them to know they have a man who understands security, is a security group up to international level. A man who has diverse discipline in all the premier universities you have in the country, plus ones outside. A man who has really been out to give the state the best. It's a matter of choice. I will still, if they don't choose me, which I believe they will, because I want to debate anybody that feels he has anything nobody has. Let him come, let's go to debate. Let's go and tell Indian Anambra that you have a very unique skill set person.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Colonel. You described yourself as a true party man. So what was the straw that broke the camel's back at this time? Why did you decide to leave APC at this time? And why did you choose the Allied People's Movement?
In the process of getting the candidate of the party, first, you will be screened. Second, you will go through the primaries. Third, the primary result comes out. If there are issues or disagreement, the fourth one is that an appeal panel will be set up. Everything was done up to the appeal panel, even though the appeal panel was inaugurated on a Monday. No, it was set up on a Monday, sorry, but was not inaugurated until Thursday of the Friday. A name must be submitted to INEC. The appeal panel was instituted on a Monday. We still have 4 days, 5 days for appeal to do their business and release the result and go back to the field. They delayed because they want a friction of time to happen. They delayed till Thursday. And even that Thursday, the appeal chairman was not even there. It was just the members of this committee that came and saw only 3 out of 12 of us that requested for appeal. 12 out of 14. Now, when we were eventually seen on Sunday, they've made the submission to INEC. But we said, okay, it's still all right. There's still a window of substitution. So we waited patiently. After they had seen all of us on that Sunday, Monday we applied for the report. Till today, nobody has seen the report. What do you expect me to do as a true party man?
Okay, Colonel, the second part of our question, are you able to?
No, if I had gone to court, I will not be able to have this platform to offer Anambra a choice. Because I'll be in my former party doing the court business.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to switch off my video. The power just went out. Now, I also asked you that why did you choose the Aligned People's Movement? It's an unknown party, and
very good question. Are you hearing me?
In Anambra State is not such a favorite. So
now, Allied People's Movement is almost 1995 close in ideology with All Progressive Congress, APC. First, in good governance, second, in security. In areas where APC looks to excel, that is the same area Allied People's Movement, APM, also look to excel. Because of the alignment, because you can't just easily shift without knowing where you're shifting to. It is easy for me because APM, remember, even the presidential candidate of APM in 2019 stepped down for President Buhari. So there has been, and why he stepped down was because of this ideological closeness. Their manifestos are close. So I am at home. Now, yes, relatively a small party, but I want to let you know that the so-called big parties are also into big problems. And all the big names are also into small parties. Every election or every politics is local. I am going to prove that in this election. That
okay,
you have to be very popular in your ward, in your local government, before you think of winning the state.
Thank you. Now let's start taking participants' comments and questions. Mr. Innocent, your hand has been up for some time. The platform is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
I must say that I like your platform, and I'm happy to be in this platform. Good evening, Colonel Geoffrey.
Yes, Mr. Innocent, I'm happy to be with you.
Yeah, thank you. I've been listening a few hours, minutes ago, on what you are discussing. You have mentioned about security in the state, and you have mentioned about construction, and you have mentioned about education, and so many areas, and agriculture you have mentioned. But from my experience and understanding, anyway, I will start off saying that APC is a ruthless organization. I will not say it's a party, it's an organization. And you being from APC, swingling from APC to new party, I think that anyone that is from APC is still underrated, because even though you are from APC to new party, you are still the same person. That is number one. But I would like to ask my question. You mentioned about education. Our education system or institution in Anambra State, I won't put Nigeria, I'll put Anambra because we are talking of Anambra. Our education system or institution, if I would say, is dilapidated. How and what are you going to put in place, and how are you going to do it? That's number one. And two, you talked about construction. In our state, we have many people sleeping homeless, and we have buildings that are inadequate buildings. And our construction industry, or let me say, there is no construction industry in Anambra, if I would say, because the way our society is, I would describe it as a dangerous site, which needs urgent attention. So my question is, how are you going to reinstall or restore our construction industry, and what are you going to do about it? My question number three, we are facing.
You've done two questions now. What was your first one?
My first one is about education. I said our education.
Good. Second one, construction industry.
Construction industry. Three. Now I'm talking about security.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Colonel, Mr. Innocent, I think you are muted. Mr. Innocent.
All right, let me take the first two. Let me hold one.
Take the first two questions. I think his network is interrupting. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Education,
no,
Mr.
Innocent.
Let's take the first two. Then you now come with the third one. On education. On education, that is your first question. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
On education, I invested in education. I own KB International Academy. KB International Academy offers total holistic education. Education on every aspect of life. And I had made huge success out of that. It's the same holistic education that I am bringing to Anambra, having succeeded in the private sector. What do we do by holistic education? Holistic education is where you do the elementaries of English and maths, the academics. And then you now add to it skills that will be usable after academics. Skills like farming, how to farm. Skills like how to do the home economics, cook. Skills like even self-defense, taekwondo, judo. All those skills that you don't get in regular education, we in KB International Academy, we do them as summer education. That is devoid of English, maths, economics, literature, and all that. So we are coming to the governance of Anambra State with a holistic education where every part of child, adult, will be educated in a way that It is not just how to speak good English, how to make good additions, or how to write wonderful poems. That is education. You have to acquire some skills, even while you are getting all those other ones. That is what we have for education. Now, on to construction. I am coming with what I call a complete set of urban renewal. Anambra State is second to the last least landmass area in Nigeria. Anambra State, because of its endowment of wealthy individuals and towns and cities, have come to one single unitary city state. It's just a city state because from one village to another, from one town to another, all of them have merged up together. So this brings us to the next level of city development, renewal. If starting from Elombah to Afono to Oyago to Ponle Triangle, when we are having any small festival thing like Easter or Christmas, events at that time, you get locked down. So I have taken a survey of all these nodal points and said, the first thing I will do when I get to office is within the first 100 days, I will do an enumeration of all the properties that are lining these roads and then conscripting them. I will have them evaluated, quantified, and pay compensation. Then have all of them removed and do bridges and flyovers all over these nodal points to open up the state. All these libraries, see, the governors we have in the past have tried, at least give us labyrinths of roads that from one backyard you enter another backyard of a village. But now, this is the time to dualize or depluralize those routes. This is the time. You can imagine that with all the noise about all the industry, which is true, do not have any dual carriageway, either from any direction. First is that I will have to get from Oba to Nnewi and beyond, heading to Okigwe. Get them quantified, make sure it enters the federal government budget, find money, the state money, and do it, and then go and claim the money from the federal government. I am coming with a massive infrastructural exponential explosion that I cannot leave the state without being happy like Dave Umahi. I don't know him, but I have to talk about him. I was, as a young officer, an engineer in Kwago Barracks. Abakaliki used to be way, very low when it comes to urban newness. But I went back. I have 2 projects in Abakaliki because I am into lots of projects all over the country. One in Ugu Hazara, where the gentleman comes, and the other one I just finished in Ezambu. I could not hold my breath when I saw the level of roads is doing, concrete paved with asphalt. I could not hold my shot in Kwago Barracks, 4 lanes. I said, what? Then the Espera Indio, I said, if when I'm a governor, I'll do a boulevard and name it after him. Please, I don't know this gentleman. I am not marketing him here, but I'm only marketing what he did. In fact, the person I know was his senior brother who retired as a major general, who served under my command when I was acting Joseph 2B. So I am saying this because we need to renew the entire city, not called state, the entire city. because Anambra is a city-state because of the merging of all the villages and towns together. It has now become one big city and not a state.
Okay, just before I call the next person.
You have the last question I asked him to hold. Let me deal with these two.
Yes, I know. I like I said, just before I call him, while we're still on your construction, are you affiliated with the James West Africa Limited construction business?
James?
Let me just confirm that. James West Africa Limited, is that part of
Autocop? I work for myself.
I know, I mean,
Nigeria. I'm not affiliated to them.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to confirm that.
Is there anything of interest there?
I just wanted to confirm that. That's all. I think the CEO has the same name with you, so I wanted to just confirm that. Okay. Now, let me call Mr. Innocent again. Mr. Innocent, you had a third question.
Yeah.
Kindly be as brief as possible. We are almost out of time.
All right. He talked about security, and if I was here, they call him Colonel. He might serve in army and work as a security staff before. I will ask, we have battling or facing serious.
He's off. You are off.
Yeah, I think his network is bad. So I think he's just asking you of a security plan for India and Anambra. What is your security plan for them?
Oh, yes, you see, this is a tough where I think it's smooth. Okay, it's smooth. This is the tough where I think I will be hired by India and Anambra. Security. You can't deal with it if you don't have the experience, the required experience. My experience is not just localized in Nigeria. My Wednesday office was in Pentagon of United States of America. That is where I do my Wednesday briefing as a military. And what they do there exposed me to the entire world. How all the issues that border Nigeria today on Boko Haram, banditry, the type being done by ISWAP and ISIS. And with all this knowledge, you see, if someone will say, oh, you are the chief security officer of the state. But the lawyers will say, never that quo happen. You can't give what you don't have. You can be chief security officer of the state. You will just be feeding on what reports the various security heads give you. But if you know what they know, you will not know when they will not give you what will not be useful for the state. So whatever they are bringing, they will be very sure because they know you know better than them. They will be very, very sure they are thorough. That's the advantage of hiring somebody who has the experience, the requisite experience. That is the advantage I have. That is what I'm bringing on board. So on security, it is very easy to get edicts, laws from the House of Assembly. When we say they're already doing things that are okay. You know, no food grazing, open grazing, marching on the foot. Yeah, get a law passed by the State Assembly. Sponsor the bill yourself. And then put your 2 feet on the ground. Sanction whoever goes against what the edict says.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Are you not seeing that the security you are seeing in Anambra State, are you not seeing that lack of jobs, let me say unemployment, the high rate of unemployment have become a big issue? That's why crime is going up. Because
Mr. Innocent.
Yeah, all right. Sorry.
Please do
No,
not
I agree
interrupt
with you.
when the
I know
guest
where
is
he's
trying
leading
to
to.
answer the
But
question.
you
Thank
see,
you so much.
I wanted to keep this response to just security. But you see, security is all encompassing. There is security in food, there's security in health, there's security in job. I believe that what informed the biggest security problem we have, not only in Anambra, but in Nigeria, is because most of our industries are down. Our factories are no longer functioning. Most of their warehouses have become places for churches and mosques, where people go to ask for, seek for job before is where they go to seek for spiritual help now. So I am keeping that to when it comes to dealing with the youth restiveness. When I come to deal with unemployment, what to do? I have things to do like agri camps that I'm going to create all over the states. So I hope, Ms. Innocent, this will just, within the time we have, address this. But, you know, I have a blueprint that is at the back of my resume, just like my manifesto. There are about 12 of them, and it touched every aspect of what Anambra needs, from security to education to health.
Thank you so much.
To commerce.
Thank you so much, Colonel. Usually we try our best to limit the interview for just 1 hour, but we're going to ask you to please pardon us. We'll have to extend the time to accommodate other hands that are up. Is that okay?
If you want to go for 3 hours, I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere. Business now.
Okay, all right. Remember that you can ask questions and comments simply by raising up your digital hand. If you want to make just a comment, kindly keep it to the chat box. Mr. Innocent, please, if you have other things to say, kindly keep it to the chat box. I'm going to call the next person now. And Prince Isaac. Prince Isaac, I can see your hand up.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening. Please go ahead.
Your Excellency, Colonel Geoffrey Onyejegbu.
Yes, Prince, you're welcome.
The governorship candidate of Allied People's Movement. It is my pleasure to see you again. Good evening, everyone. We had a very digestive discussion yesterday night, and we agreed to converge today. The issue of Anambra is indeed a very huge situation, a very huge issue for every well-meaning Igbo person, because Anambra is the gateway to Igbo land. When Anambra gets it wrong, every state in the southeast and the south-south will collapse. Therefore, who becomes, there is this popular saying that people cannot be better than the leader they give to themselves. When you have very good leader, the people will rejoice. The economy will rebound. Every facet of the economy will rejoice. Anambra State, under the present party and leadership, has not only failed, has not only disappointed in the Anambra and in Igbo in general, but has shown incapacitation, lack of goodwill, lack of political resolve to alleviate the suffering of the people. I do not intend to be personal, but I think it is time for Ndi Igbo, Ndi Anambra, to think out of the box. during every election year, we convert in only 3 parties. People of great means that had acquired so much wealth, influence and connections and capacity, they convert themselves in just 1, 2, 3 parties. And after being defrauded, because one of the issues, one of the problems that political parties have is lack of internal democracy. It is prevalent in virtually all the 3 so-called major parties. They have not only failed, I regret to include APC, not because there hasn't been areas of achievements, but generally, to him that much is given, much is expected. I want to confine myself to this coming election and where it concerns Allied People's Movement. There is need for an alternative force from the Anambra. We've tested PDP, they failed. We've tested APM for 16 years now. They've also failed in the Anambra. It is time for the emergence of a new generation of young leaders with guts and capacity to change the tide. And I think in a situation where there is popular yearning, popular demand for change, it is important that people of goodwill, like Colonel Geoffrey, should not be listed among those who are seen to be the problems of Nigeria. I celebrate you. You are foresighted. It is your passion and your vision and your motivation to change the status quo, to touch the Anambra and change the plight and the suffering of the people. Democracy is all about the people. When the people are alienated from governance, it's no more democracy, it becomes autocracy. Popular participation in government, popular participation in the process that produces leadership is democracy. We say it is government of the people, for the people, by the people. But the situation in Anambra in recent years has shown that what we are running is not democracy, but government of cabals, by the cabals, for the cabals.
Thank you so much, Prince.
Oh, it's my time up.
I'm hoping there is a question because you've made a lot of comments. Is there a question?
No, for now, it's just this comment. Let me confine myself to it for now.
Thank you so much. Remember that you can join the discussion simply by raising up your digital hand, and I'll try to accommodate as much questions as possible. We are trying to keep the time limit, a particular time frame, so we don't extend the discussion to 3 hours like the Colonel suggested. I'm going to call the next person, Elombah. He is the APC State Publicity Secretary for Anambra State, and his hand is up. Elombah.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead. Just before you speak, your video
confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you, but can you move your camera so you face the light, don't back the light? That will give us better quality.
Is it better now?
You're backing the light. Can you move it opposite?
Let him ask him a question. He's not our guest. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. First of all, permit me to make a preliminary comment. I know this discussion is not about APC, but there's a fallout. The gentleman from SDP, Mr. Innocent Arrow, said that APC is a ruthless party. I think that must be his opinion, even though it's a very unfair one, but we understand where he's coming from. We understand where he's coming from. There is really nothing that has been said here that accuses APC as a party. But we admit that there are issues in the actions taken by individuals which are being addressed in the context of APC. I wouldn't even say that it is over yet, but I wouldn't blame Cornell because he had to run for time. We consider him an APC member, and we look forward to him coming back. I have two very simple questions for him. Assuming that you go ahead and win this election and you're sworn in on March 17, 2022, would you conduct local government elections before September 30, 2022? That is one. Secondly, do you have a plan in the health sector, which is one whipping boy of Anambra economy? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's listen to Cornell.
Yes, Architect Okebo. I will answer yes to your first question. If I believe that I will step down to the fourth tier government, it can't work without doing the third tier well. And to do the third tier well, I must conduct an election. And that is the only way I can broaden the grassroots participation. That is the only way I can bring in people in the grassroots into governance, into ownership of the affairs of state that concerns them. Yes, within 6 months, I will do election to the councils. And even to make sure that my commissioner for local government affairs, chieftaincy and local government affairs, will actively participate in town union governments that will be under the local government councils of various areas. Now on health, I have a plan nobody has ever motivated in course of crisscrossing Anambra in our campaign journey. I call it hospital or health on wheel. Hospital on wheel. I will have 105 new vehicles procured and 5 to each of the 21 local government areas in their council headquarters. Ambulance 1, small surgery theater vehicle 2, pharmacy 3, pharmacy, and then 2 admin vehicles 5. There will be online. You see, everything has been made so easy. With ordinary GSM, you don't even need to worry your head over communication. The numbers of the minders of this hospital on wheel will be known to every citizen of that local government. When once there's an issue, somebody will pick up phone and call. There is this one way okay, in word so each word that is down with one element or the other. The minders of this hospital on wheel will not move straight to that word because there is nobody in a local government that will not know every nook and cranny of that local government. Give the immediate first aid, immediate health care to that one way OCAF. And if it requires going to the secondary level of health management, they will move the person to the second health. You ask me, how do you fund this program? I am going to fund it from the IGR. You will ask me again, is it not going to be too expensive to do? I will say, who will? There's always a will. When you hear how much that goes into security votes, you know that there is nothing a state like Anambra cannot do. So,
okay, let us call the next person. Mr. Emeka. Mr. Emeka.
Yeah, good evening, moderator. Good evening.
Good evening. Please go ahead. Good evening. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Connor, sir.
Yes, Mr. Emeka, how are you today?
Not bad. Yeah, you talked about security. But I want to draw your attention to the latest insecurity in the country, which is political insecurity. Political insecurity. Now, we've not talked about political insecurity. I think if I should take you back to Philippines in 1950s, when Ramon Magsaysay took over as the president of Philippines, he had this movement to contend with hook guerrillas, hook guerrilla movement. The hook guerrilla movement was about to overrun Philippines. Then Magsaysay invited General Edward Lansdale, an American, a very good expert in counterinsurgency. So when Lansdale came to Philippines, he told Ramon Magsaysay that the problem Philippines was grappling with then was not the problem they can tackle with force. That if the Philippines decide to use force alone on hook guerrilla, they will fail. Then Ramon Magsaysay asked him, what do we do? He said, move your government closer to the people, eradicate corruption, and hook guerrilla will die a natural death. Now, in this country now, we are having political insecurity. 90% of the problem insecurity in Nigeria is political. Now, how do you tackle that political insecurity? Because Anambra too has its own fair share. How do you tackle it in Anambra State when you become?
Yeah, I love this question because you see, it brings out the strategy I have for insecurity. I have in my blueprint what I call kinetic and non-kinetic approaches to solve the insecurity problem. And under non-kinetic approaches, I have things that I had already even identified in their small way. When I said I am taking governance down to the grassroots by having a fourth-tier government. Now, when you involve the people in what concerns them, that is management of their affairs, be it politics or otherwise, you discover that to a very large extent, you have pulled them away from where they will be agents of insecurity and become the agents of good society. Now, I am not contesting for the presidency of this country. I am contesting for the governorship of Anambra State. But because we were talking about a nationhood in Philippines and a president of Philippines, I tell you, part of our biggest problem in the country is that we have spaces that are ungoverned, spaces that is just no man's land. Let me use a layman understanding of ungoverned spaces. No man's land. And therefore, nature abhors void. So People will occupy those, govern those spaces, and the people who are governing those spaces are non-state actors who are doing things inimical to security of a nation. Now, but let me pull it down to my state, Anambra. We are fortunate that our state in Anambra has become one huge city-state where you can plan to govern the entire spaces. And I have told them, look, listen, being a man with 32 years experience in security, if I have bushes where people go and hide and come out to do nonsense things, call them bandits or whatever, I will lead the security agents, soldiers and police to do combing. If you know what combing is, those who were around during the Nigerian and Biafran war will know what combing is. We will comb all the quote unquote ungoverned spaces we may have. I don't think we have them much in Anambra, but whatever is left, they are going to be combed out. So thank you.
Okay, let's move to the next.
Addressing that.
Let's move to the next hand. Elombah Television, your hand is up.
Colonel, I have 2 or 3 questions, please, if you will be able to please address us on that. One, the governorship position of Anambra State is not a child's play. And there is no doubt that you have the competence to be a governor. But the problem is, how do you intend to win? Seeing that elections in Anambra and indeed Nigeria in general is not about whether people voted for you or not, but whether you will be able to secure the votes that you have won and get INEC to declare you the winner. Does your party have the structural capacity to secure and guard your votes? 1. And 2, if what played out in your former party APC, of course, if Anambra will be in the candidate again, in the ticket again, don't you think he will strive to replay what he did in your party within the entire Anambra state, in the entire state? And indeed, other parties as well may also strive to do the same thing. And if you are unable to stop him from outmaneuvering a dozen of you in his party, how will you stop the state might of APGA, the federal might of APC with him again, and the general might of the People Democratic Party? How will you stop them from outmaneuvering you and your party when election has been conducted? My third and final question would be, Anambra State lacks serious infrastructure. And if you becomes the governor of the state, what is your plan for obeying the rule of law? Let me illustrate what I'm trying to ask here, please, if you allow me. I learned yesterday in our Zoom meeting that in the area of conducting local government elections, that there are court orders that have declared the existence of caretaker committees, caretaker chairmanship, or whatever they call themselves in local government as illegal. And there's a court order ordering the state governors to conduct elections into local government chairmanship positions. And that court order was not obeyed, and the people were incapable of doing anything. How will you assure the Anambra that if you become the governor, that that there will be institutions that will force you as a governor to obey such court orders? For instance, how will you appoint your attorney general? which is very important. How would you oversee the elections of members of the State House of Assembly? How would you secure the power of the masses to force a governor to obey the will of the masses and the rule of law? 3 questions, please.
Yeah, let me start with your last question, Elombah. You see, every of what you said now boils down to the individual, the governor, the person. What is his antecedent? What are his moral values? What is his background? What training has he gotten in life? How religious is he? If a man has no, or a woman has no political will, he will not be able to uphold the institutions of state. Let me say that I have lost your picture. I hope you're still around. Is anybody hearing me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
you're
You are
We can
here.
hear you. We can hear you.
We are only muted
Yeah.
ourselves to allow you to have the field. Go on, sir.
Yeah. Okay. See, the truth of the matter is that, you see, your question is so germane to anybody who will be governor of Anambra State. He must be a person with a proven background. He must be a person that will have the political will to allow the institution of the state to stand, every one of them. Appointment of Attorney General. For goodness sake, it will not just be what the governor will just get up and say, well, I have an in-law, or I have a friend, or I have a relation. No. If it is the job of the Judicial Council to do that, I know you say, well, is he not the commissioner of justice in the state? No. I would want the proper thing to be done. Even the chief judge of the state, it must come from those who are supposed to do the recommendation and the approval, so that if there's any problem, it will be sent back to them. I will do everything possible to have every institution of governance, make them very strong, because once you make them very strong, you can go and sleep. I'm a golfer. Once the institutions are strong and working, you can see Colonel Geoffrey Onyejegbu playing his golf, which will be one of those things I have to do early in the state. An allied state like Anambra State have no one single golf course. You don't do business of governance without having where people walk the lawns, think away from the regular routine thoughts, maybe with 1 or 2 individuals in a free country land. That addresses your last question. Your second question, I will go to it before I go to the first one. If Nnamdi Elombah ends up with APC in this same November 6th ballot and will want to do the same thing he did, how is Colonel Geoffrey Onyejegbu going to stop him from doing the same? You see, maybe you people haven't truly looked at how elections have evolved over time. The year 2007, when he tried this something and had more figures returned, 1.7 million has voted for him in PDP, more than the registered voters. That was when we were in analog phase. I hope I'm being heard. You're off again.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
In 2007, we are still trying to move from analog to the digital kind of election we are having now. You have so quickly forgotten that with the card reader, Even in a polling ward, the booths you have all the parties agreeing with you that it is very difficult to get beyond a certain figure and number. Highest 600 registered voters in a booth. There is no magic you can do to have more than 400 people swap their card within the accredited time. Time for accreditation. There is no magic. And it is from that card reader, you can tell the number of people that were accredited. And those numbers will be, you will not exceed that number in the voting. You see, we have come very, very, very far of age. And like I said earlier, over 10 to 12 out of 18 are big horns in this election, in small parties. Everybody will sit down in his ward and in his local government. There is nothing you can manufacture from Abuja to come and call in Oka, maybe sitting in one hotel. It's not possible. So if you ask me, I will tell you that party primaries, the party can decide to write their result in a hotel room as it happened in APC primaries. But national election, and this is so good that this election of Anambra is standalone. It's a staggered election. It's on its own. The whole nation will be on it. The whole national resources will be on it. It is not like when you have general election, okay, resources are shared, but all the resources will now be moved to Oka in Anambra. And I can tell you, because every party will be interested in what is going to happen, INEC themselves will want everybody go to the field, vote. Let us count your vote. Because if it is the right result for anybody, it's not going to work. Or man work. Makaivo age work because now, the result, nobody can every other party. So this time, INEC has let's go to the field. I hope I'm saying this on the Anambra, you understand. But in truth, and that is what is going to happen. I'm going to talk to you people again in this kind of interview come 7th, 8th of November, that I told you people that the votes will count. Let everybody go and campaign in the field.
Okay, let us.
Let me predict something. Sorry, Augusta.
Sorry, go ahead.
The election is not going to win with the kind of 230,000 we are saying one gentleman God, and it's not possible. The winner of this election will be in the 90,000, 100,000. You understand? And too many of these big goons in small party, we win in their small local government and wards. I foresee even a runoff in this election. Just ask me again after the election. Now, the last question you raise is, Geoffrey Onyejegbu and APM, a small party. Listen, this is the time you will now know how powerful the small parties will be in the election. I've run for governor before in a small party. And I ran for primary in a big party. And I'm now running in a small party. I can tell you this election is different. Different in the sense that it is going to be the game of the small parties. Of course, most of the big parties have their problem. Most of them might not even be in the ballot. Those who will be in the ballot will, have multiple candidates in small parties all over. Whether I have the structures, yes, I have the 326 ward coordinators. I have 21 local government coordinators. because I have been in the field. People will follow me, and they already indicated, they're already working. It is not party that anybody is voting for now. It is the individual. And Colonel Geoffrey Onyejegbu, an architect, a PhD holder, 3 master's degree holder, is somebody that is unique. A trader, a soldier. Haba, let me tell you, these people, it is not like before. People, their eye don't open. They don't open well. You cannot tell anybody anything now. He knows. So those who will defend the result are there. Those who will vote in every ward, I'm not going to win in every ward. I have known my areas where my strengths are, and I'll concentrate in them, and that will give me the winning.
Okay, we thank you. Is Augusta there? If not, Chinedu, are you able to ask your question?
Yes. Hello, how are you doing, Colonel?
I'm doing pretty well, and you?
Good to see you. Well, I'm not sure what your responses were concerning education, because in my own estimation, the social media has really exposed how truly education Africans are, in terms of their ability to manage their affairs. The problem solving skills, the ability to analyze issues and come up with solutions, it is poor. Now, you and I know that the problem in Nigeria, and by extension Africa, has never been the absence of resources, but discipline, responsibility, poor education, lack of integrity, supervision, rewards and consequences, and many things. Now, when people tell me that the problem is just leadership, I laugh, because like I keep on saying, you can never have bad leadership with good followership. It doesn't happen. So one thing that I have also, mine is just comments, and then I ask a few questions. Appointing the right people as an elected governor, I feel that appointing the right people and supervising them to do the right thing is key to you doing very well. So my first question is, what manner of people will you be appointing into positions should you win? How will you know that these people are qualified? Secondly, what do you think is the role of corruption in the development of Nigeria and Anambra in particular? And how will you fight corruption? Thank you.
All right. Your first question is on education. You say you didn't get what I gave as a response to dealing with the issue of education. Now, I said that I invested into education. I own KB International Academy. And by way of deviating from the norm, we started with the philosophy of total holistic education. After the regular academics, we have other curricula that is a full school on its own in summer for our children, where they are taught skills that regular English and maths and literature and economics will not teach them. And that is what we want to. I want to take the state. Now, when people see our school, see the activities in school, they are like, wow, is this in Nigeria? It looks like a regular school in the United States of America. And I said, my public school will tend to be as good as any private school. I own one, so I know, if not better. And it's going to be holistic. It's going to teach you everything about life, not just plus and minus in mathematics. or syntax in English. No. It's going to be a total holistic education about life, so that a young child living primary or secondary education should be able to stand on his own. That is for education. Now, how to reduce corruption? My brother, Chinedu, the fish, you know, starts to get spoiled from the head. Let me tell you, there is no magic about stopping the corruption if the governor himself is not corrupt. Yes, before anybody does anything, you want to know how his organ will react to that. If the governor has shown that he is not going to be a corrupt person, as a matter of fact, any man that lived a quality life, been in the public office, and been good to people, that man will never lack what to eat again till he dies. I'm being honest with you. So I will not want to say that I will jail every corrupt person, but I want to say that I will lead by not being corrupt, and those who are working for me, if they know that I'm not corrupt, they will not. And if they are, then the proper sanctions will come, the big cane will come. You understand? But if you're corrupt and you're carrying the big cane, it will not work. Let's just not forget that. Let's be very serious. If your followers know that this man, anyway, issue of corruption is very tough.
Okay. Okay, so let us hear from Elder Tango. Elder Tango, your hand is up.
Moderator, thank you. And thank you to it's trying a lot. Connor,
sir,
good, I have 3 questions for you.
Yes, sir.
How can you manage an order when order is not obeyed? You know, order is, being a military man, I passed through military too. I know order is order when it's obeyed. One question. Another question, with your good interest now and all you said, how will you stand federal might if you become a governor and there is any, if you become a governor and there is any federal interest in your state, how do you handle it? Another one again on education. What type of, I see an analysis on education and I saw light in it that your education program will be okay if you allow. If you allow, because education is not, we don't need certificate education anymore. We need practical education. Yeah. Because here, Siemens have their own school in order to keep Siemens alive. Bosch have their own school in order to keep Bosch alive, not to bring a wrong teacher. So I would like when you become a governor, you apply all these things in Anambra, if God help you. And my last question to you now is, people are saying that you are old wine in a new bottle. Maybe they don't want to tell you. That people are saying that you are old wine in a new bottle. That yeah. Now you left APC. That your reason for leaving, getting out of APC, maybe you are sidelined or you are no more comfortable with them. So those reasons you will clear it this night too.
The Tango.
Thank you.
First, you said, let me get your questions 1, 2, 3, 4. I know one is order. That's the first one, how to obey order. Second is federal might, how to deal with their interests. Third is, of course, you agree with my what I'm doing about, with my
education.
School, but education. You wanted a specialist education. Then first, old wine in a new bottle. All right. Let me tell you, I am a man who started as a child. Child, because I say below 18 is still a child. Knowing that order is order. If you cannot obey order, then anarchy takes over.
Thank you.
How can a court say, Mr. Governor, this, you don't have right here, you can't do this. And then you say you will not obey it. Then what follows is anarchy. Even if people don't come out to the streets, you understand? They might sit at home, sit in the office, and be doing the anarchy thing. So I know how important order is. You understand? It's like a life wire. It is order that will make you to be safe from not be put on the harm's way. If you don't obey, order said you should not pass this line at this time, and you pass it, you could be shot. So order is very important. I will not, as a governor, refuse to obey order. I would rather seek for an appeal on that order if it is not, because you know people can, well, we are known as in the Anambra that we all have our injunctions and ex parte, all of them in our breast pockets. He's discussing with you as a group. Once the thing is not going his way, you put it and drop it like a card the referee gives to the players. You obey it because the man has brought it out and dropped it. But you go and appeal against it. If you are even in the appeal, demand, you go to another the last. If you finally this in the Supreme Court, you come back home and know that after all, Obasanjo lost 7 cases against to Atiku, and the country still stayed. So I will obey every order, and the one that is inimical to the health of the society and my Indian Anambra, I will appeal. If my appeal is upheld, then the man will know that I've withstood it. He can counter appeal or we go to Supreme Court. That is for order. Then federal might and federal interests. Excuse me, it's only when you don't know your left from your right that somebody will say federal might. If it is the one, I'll go to court, I'll go against the federal interest. After all, Lagos state government on that define the president time and won in some of the cases that have not been killed before. That you say you don't know where to put a knife in the cadaver, you know how to carve it up. These things are very simple. So it's not for a mind that is very liberated, well trained, well exposed, wonderful background that you will be telling about federal mind. It can happen. Then, of course, we agreed in total holistic education. What you now brought, that is the third one. What you now brought is that specialist schools. Honestly, I will even counsel entrepreneurs in my state that before you hire any hand, put him through school, kind of training before he now starts working. So I agree with you totally that there must be specialist training to keep the culture of that organization or the knowledge of that organization going. Lastly, Geoffrey Onyejegbu, old wine in a new skin bag.
In a new bottle.
In a new bottle, yeah? Yes, in a new bottle. Yes. The man from APC now moved to APM. Let me tell you, when I was in APC, a lot of my friends, even from the other divide, were like, this is not the Jeff. We know he cannot be where he is. But I laughed at them and said, this is the right place for me to be. Because if you say something, a place is not too good, then you need good people to go and make it good. You understand? I had not stopped being who I am, even when I was in APC. And I can tell you, take it to bank. There is no difference between APC and PDP. These are the two parties that have ruled in this Fourth Republic. It's the same people who were in PDP that formed the bulk of those who are in APC. The same people who formed the bulk, where a good number of them moved back to PDP from APC.
Yes. Even Tapuga.
Excuse me. Apuga is only just managing one small state. You understand? So if in one small state, Anambra, and they're having all that kind of problem, you can imagine when you give them the country, they will be worse than PDP and APC. So, my dear, who I am have not changed. Rather, wherever I enter, you understand, that thing that I want to do to bring a new change, you understand, will remain my philosophy until I go down. So I remain who I am. I am not in any new bottle. I am not what you think.
Okay, let's take our last question. Okay, Augusta.
Why is it
Yes,
going
I
to the
am
last
back.
question?
Thank you, Elombah Television.
Well, let's take our last question on this segment. If you wish to continue, we normally have a heart-to-heart chat that will not be recorded, and then we'll ask you more questions then.
In fact, that is really when you will see me in my elements.
Okay. All right, let's take in Innocent Arrow. Last question, please.
Thank you. My last question is on health. If you watch Nigeria as a whole, I will always put my case studies on Anambra State. Anambra State have learned a lot of health and safety management. That's why our Anambra State has been very, very, very strong in infrastructure, in organization, and many other things. So I would like to ask, if you get there, how are you going to manage health and safety to improve Anambra State?
Health
and safety.
And safety.
Yeah, because it is the paramount that leads every organized country. Every organized country deal with health and safety, and I have not seen it in Anambra State. So how are you going to install health and safety in Anambra State?
Well, I think it will come under an institution of states that will enumerate all that is required on part of safety instructions. If you're at a construction site, you must wear something like your debris helmet. You must wear signs, the jacket, that will, show that somebody is in a place where certain things should not be made to put him on a harm's way. Then when it comes, it will be dealt sector by sector. You understand? Yeah. On health, you should know which rooms there are isolation rooms, okay, and all the safety instructions will be there. I don't think it is something the governor has to be able to do, but all the sectoral heads will know that the government is so much after this safety and good health of the citizenry, and therefore should do what is required to ensure that. It's a sectoral head thing. It is not something the government will just sit in government house and said, for safety and health of people. No. It is the sector. Of course. Why do we have commissioners? Why do the commissioners have directors? So that's the way I think I can deal with it. And again, there's a question from the last one, from the last for this present person. How do you hire, employ people that will help you as a government? I believe that that is where the success of every government starts. Yes, there will be political patronage, yes, but also there will be those in critical areas that are hired because of their special skills, special competencies. So I'll be very mindful of getting those in those areas to be part of the governance, while I also take care of those who also participated in bringing the government to be.
All right, Colonel.
Okay.
We said, okay, go ahead, conclude. Or else, if you would like to allow, please.
Go ahead. I can say just one. This is going to be our last comment. Prince Isaac, I'm going to assume you have a question, not a comment.
Yeah. Actually, somebody asked me to ask Colonel Geoffrey this very important question. Well, I wanted to decline, but the person insisted I must ask. It's very technical, but it's important for clarity, for the purposes of clarity.
Please try
Your
to be as
Excellency,
brief as possible.
Yes, very sure. Your Excellency, someone asked me to ask you.
So we can.
But at the venture, you have the mandate of the Anambra as the governor of Anambra State under Allied People's Movement. What assurances are you giving into Anambra that you will be able to contend with Fulani headsmen that are causing havoc across Nigeria? Because whether we like it or not, this is a major security issue. And we know, as a former military officer, you have inclination to the present leadership of APC. You have soft spot for them. They were your former bosses or thereabout. There is this connection. So how are you prepared, and what assurances are you giving the Anambra that you will be able to contend with them? Like, there was a language used, combing. It's another language. Are you prepared to comb also the Fulani headsmen out of our forests to ensure safety and security of the Anambra?
You have answered it. I am telling you, what people don't know is that when a crime has become a business, you have all manner of people go into that business, all manner of bad people. I tell you, when bunkering was flourishing in Niger Delta, and then followed by kidnapping and making money through kidnapping of expatriates in Niger Delta, it wasn't only the Niger Deltans that moved into that criminal business. People across all over the country, from the east, west, and north, went into kidnapping in Niger Delta. When armed robbery became a very serious business, people from all tribes, got into that business. Today, the Fulani headsmen, most of them that come from outside Nigeria are doing brisk business, kidnapping people. But I will assure them, if I become the governor, which I am going to become the governor, once I have the extant laws, I said, no open grazing. If you're transporting your animals, you put them on the truck, you come to a corker or Amansi, put them there, sell those you can sell, those you can't sell. I'll get a large expanse of land maybe in the 3 senatorial zones where you can ranch them. And there I will have vet hospital. I will have hospitals for human being, both for animal and human being separately. Then I will have fodder, animal fodder provided. But you pay me some money. A head of cow goes for as much as 200 to 250,000. You pay the state at least 2.5% to 5% of that because it's a business you're doing. So I will bring in the business angle of it, and you must stay in that place. If you're outside that place, whatever you see, you take. Then any other person that is in the ungoverned spaces we have, you understand? We'll go on regular combing, and I mean it. So let nobody think, oh, Geoffrey Onyejegbu, you think our leaders are happy with what is happening? They are not. You understand? So every action I will take in Anambra State will be backed by law and by individuals ahead of me or beyond me.
Okay, so, thank you so much, Cornell.
Bring that more question because I'm prepared for things like this.
Colonel Geoffrey.
Augusta, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Yes, I am here. And thank you so much. We have been discussing with Colonel Architect Geoffrey Onyejegbu. He is the governorship candidate for the Anambra State 2021 gubernatorial elections under the Allied People's Movement platform. And we have been trying to understand why we should vote for him and why he's contesting under the APM. So that thanks to our guest for honoring our invitation and staying for 2 hours trying to clarify his position. Thank you so much, Colonel Architect Geoffrey.
Thank you, Augusta.